Can I just say, before you watch this particular video, Mark has some words for you.
We do a weekly podcast, Kermode and Mayo's Take, and these videos are just morsels taken from that podcast.
And basically, him in the glasses and the hair, he reviews the films.
Him in the smaller glasses and the smaller hair, he does all the big interviews.
Plus a load more. So wherever you get your podcast, make sure you subscribe and make sure you download on a regular basis. It's very healthy.
There's a link below.
Below, don't forget that bit.
You have reached your destination.
Savages, which is it's a French-Swiss-Belgian co-promotion stop-motion animation from Swiss director Claude Barrat. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You will remember directed My Life as a Courgette, which I absolutely love and is known in some territories as My Life as a Zucchini, because a courgette is a zucchini, apparently. Co-written by Catherine Payet. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is released in two versions in UK cinemas, in a subtitled version, which is the version that I saw, also in an English language dub. It's a tale of childhood, but it has a surprisingly mature sensibility in the same way that My Life as a Courgette did. Rated PG for mild threat, violence, discrimination, language, drug references. So it's not for the very young, but it is definitely for young and I think, young people of all ages. So set in Borneo. So a young girl rescues a baby orangutan that's been driven off the oil palm plantation where her father works. Her late mother's family are members of the indigenous Penan tribe, whose home is under attack by this company who's deforesting, logging everywhere. At the same time, her young cousin, who has grown up in what Ian Jury would refer to as the wilds of Borneo, comes to live with her and her father because tensions are rising between his nomadic family and the logging companies who are destroying the forest. So the two youngsters end up going with this incredibly cute baby orangutan back into the jungle, where our young heroine discovers her origins, her ancestry, her true self, determines to stay and to wage war against the company who are basically, tearing the homeland apart. Now, it's been described by its creators as Heidi meets the Jungle Book, which on the one hand sounds very so offhand, but actually is oddly apropos. Apparently, the filmmakers were inspired somewhat by the work of Swiss environmentalist and human rights activist Bruno Manzer. So there is a serious subject in the back of this, which is to do with deforestation, destruction of forests, more importantly, the loss of man's connection with nature, things about hidden family secrets. It's a coming-of-age tale. So there's plenty of stuff that's going on in it that is impressively earthy. I mean, for example, the orangutan is very cute, but the orangutan also eats bugs. And I read there's an interview that goes out with the film in which the director Claude Barrat said, I did this to counter the somewhat sugar-coated view that we often have of wildlife, where a sweet little animal cannot suddenly turn out to be a formidable predator. It's a realist stance, which I'm totally comfortable with, like showing the small blood stain on Kéria's thigh, which of course also has symbolic significance. And he also says in that same interview, I adore talking to children about subjects which may seem initially quite complex. And that's why, he said, we wanted to have a cute orangutan at the center of it, because that way it can kind of guide and accompany the young spectator. And that's how, it's a way in for younger audiences. Although I say again, this isn't for very, very young audiences. I think in a way that kind of captures what it is that I love about his animation. I mean, in the case of My Life as a Courgette, it was dealing with some really, really dark subject matter, kids and abusive backgrounds, but it was doing it in a way that I thought was absolutely brilliant. In the case of this, it's telling an environmental story, which of course is something, I think most young people now will know about environmentalism and the cause of environmentalism, and they will know some of the issues. But it's doing it in a way which is not it's not prettified. It's not talking down to them. The stop motion animation, if you saw My Life as a Courgette, you'll know that one of the things that Claude Barras does is he has these incredibly simple characters, but they are very, very expressive. There's something about the simplicity of the way that the faces are represented, but they're extraordinarily expressive. I thought it was rich and engaging. And once again, I love stop motion anyway. There is a tactility to it, an earthiness to it, a feeling of it having its feet on the ground. I don't think it's on the same level as My Life as a Courgette, but that's a little bit like, there's that famous story that Joseph Heller was interviewed, and an interviewer said to him, "You'll never write anything as good as Catch-22." And he replied, "Few people will." If you've made My Life as a Courgette, the fact that you make another film that isn't quite on a par with it is hardly a failure. I thought this was really fascinating. I like the fact that they've released it in subtitle and also dubbed version, because obviously for younger viewers, they may not actually be able to keep up with subtitles anyway. I saw it in the original language version and I enjoyed that very much. And I love the animation, and I think he's a very interesting filmmaker. And it's an important story. It is a story about environmental destruction, but it's also about families and about history, and it is a coming-of-age story. And I was really engaged by it. Apparently, according to the press notes, Claude Barras is currently developing, and I'm reading this verbatim, is currently developing a documentary series on excrement. And
really?
That's what it says.
Wow. Okay.
So who knows?
That's challenging. Later on in Savages, do they reach the vineyards of Bordeaux?
Yeah.
Do the Eskimo and the Arapaho move their bodies to and fro?
No.
You started it.
No, but I know. But somebody does get hit with a rhythm stick. And incidentally, what is a rhythm stick? Is it just like a drumstick? Is it hit me with your drumstick?
No.
No.
No, it's not. In the...
Oh, is it?
In either...
Is it something else?
Yes. I think it's a Mr. Happy.
What?
I believe so.
my guitar is so shocked it's just fallen off the wall.
Yeah. That's actually that's seismic. That's a moment. I told you that. Well, I think it comes from the Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll movie.
Right.
Or it comes from a documentary where Ian Dury, in passing, refers to some... so who knows what came first, but he refers to a Mr. Happy as a rhythm stick.
Oh, I see.
So it is... which came first, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But...
I wish I hadn't asked now.
No, I'm sure your guitar wishes...
Yeah, I'll put it back.